25 years ago, Walter and I met up in Hartford, Connecticut at an advertising agency. He was a newly hired account executive. I was a junior art director, and he walked in the door and I went, Yahoo! And noticed the ring on his finger and went, oh well. And but we got to be really good friends. We were put together as a team. We worked on a good many things, including what is now MasterCard and Medicare and all kinds of fun stuff. He got transferred down here to Fort Lauderdale in 1969 to work for Red Barn, which is another restaurant chain now defunct. And I was at the time still in Hartford. And at that point he'd gotten a divorce and we became better friends. And in 1970 I moved down to be with him. We just were always a team. We always did things together. Walter came from Memphis, Tennessee. He grew up in what was then rural Memphis, Tennessee. And so he's a good old boy. Always loved to be out in the woods, always loved to, you know, hunt and fish and all that good stuff that Southern boys do. He loved to travel, he loved to race cars, he loved his friends in Guatemala, he loved history. I don't know, he was kind of a Renaissance man. He truly believed in fairness and equal rights, and that every human being had a special place and a special duty and a special gift to share. And I do think that that probably is one of the most special things about my Walter, is that he just always astonished me at his ability for compassion. Walter just was appalled at the destruction of the natural world. We would go out, especially when it really started to get bad during the early and mid-'80s. We would go out to the places where it had been bulldozed and rescue plants and things, and basically kind of a Clint Eastwood attitude: make my day, arrest me, I have a lot to say, we're going to channel Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. You know? And so Walter just got involved. This made us so proud. He was the first and only civilian to be appointed to the Naturescape Task Force of Broward County by our Commissioner, Kristen Jacobs. So he was on that task force for a good many years, contributed an awful lot. Then he was appointed to the Coconut Creek Environmental Board, and again, Walter didn't want to be, it wasn't a title to him, it was a duty. He didn't want to be just a token environmentalist. He was an environmentalist.
When I first met Walter, I was on that Naturescape task force with him, and I had not known him before that. And what I liked about Walter is never afraid to speak up. He always said what he had to say. He didn't care if it was controversial or if it would upset anybody. I mean, he wasn't rude, but he was always very passionate about the environment, and that was always first on his mind.
Walter, to me, was vibrant, knowledgeable, always willing to share that knowledge. He always explained things so that we could understand why we're doing certain things. I've had the pleasure of visiting their home and seeing that beautiful garden that they have created in the back of a condominium. Unbelievable.
His involvement in the environment, I think, stemmed mainly from moving to Coconut Creek and seeing the environment instead of living in apartments. And it sort of became natural to him, and I know Butterfly World was a big boost to him because he got excited about that, and he and Mona would plant all sorts of plants that would attract butterflies, and that sort of was where it started, and it just grew from there.
I just remember Walter as being involved in everything in the village. When we got new mailboxes, he was there putting them in. If something went wrong with the gates, he was out there trying to repair the gates. And he's just a very handy, very mechanically oriented guy, and very knowledgeable and nice, and he's going to be missed around here.
Started out as a response to getting rid of what we called the developer dreadfuls, which were very sterile plants. We couldn't live without our birds and butterflies, so when we first moved in here, we replaced a good many plants with things that would attract the wild critters. And our neighbors would ask us, gosh, where did you get the butterflies? And we would reply, Kmart, of course. And it just, it brought in everybody. We use primarily native plants wherever possible, or those exotics which are not going to reseed themselves and become a problem in the environment. And it's one of the ongoing teaching. Part of the garden is as a demonstration garden, to have people over here to learn about things and what they look like when they're mature, and how to plant properly and group properly. So it's a peaceful, wonderful place. It's just full of life and color, and it's just a lifelong love. What do I most miss about Walter? Just the sharing, the watching a butterfly emerge, coming in all excited because there's caterpillars all over the place, or coming back from a field trip and just, Walter, you wouldn't believe, what I saw today, and his sharing back the same way. We always gave each other rainbows and sunsets and sunrises. Those were the gifts that I think that I miss the most, that I can't give him in this world anymore. So whenever I see something like that, that's when I miss him the most.